Hey there, everyone. Thanks for tuning in again. Woody Bendle here from Next Level Growth Strategies. This week's business tip is going to touch on something that we all hate. Each of us probably encounter this several times each day, and we hate it. This can turn a great experience on its ear in a second, and it can turn an already stressful situation into an exhausting nightmare. And yet, we accept it. We put up with it, and we even overlook it, especially when we might be the source of it. But let me tell you this, if you can minimize this, especially for your customers and your prospects, you will have more success than you can fathom. So if you've seen any of our videos in the past, you know what's coming next. Okay, so stick around because I'm predicting you are not going to want to miss out on this week's tip. And that was a hint, by the way. All right, welcome back, everyone. Let's jump right on in. Not too long ago, I took one of our cars into the dealership for its scheduled oil change. You know, about every 5,000 miles or so, you're supposed to take your vehicle in to have its oil changed, have its tires rotated, and have everything looked at. Now, this dealership is about a half hour away from our home, and on this day, my wife was tied up with another obligation, meaning she wouldn't be able to pick me up when I dropped the car off. So I'd need to wait at the dealership until the service was completed. My check-in was right on time. They were expecting me. They knew what I was bringing it in for, and they said it should be ready in about 90 minutes, which is exactly what they told me on the phone. So I was prepared for the wait, and I had some work with me as well as some reading that I'd been wanting to get to. On this day, that 90 minutes went pretty fast. I'd managed to get the work stuff knocked out that I'd wanted to, and I was ready to get the vehicle and get going with the rest of my day. Now, the other times I'd waited for my vehicle here, I'd actually gotten the car back a little earlier than expected. But now it was approaching 2 hours, and in my mind, this probably wasn't a good sign. About another 15 minutes went by, and the guy who checked me in found me in the lobby and said the service was all done, but the engine belt was fraying and it really needed to be replaced. They didn't have one in stock, so they were checking around with other dealerships and supply stores to see if they could find one. The good news is that it wouldn't take long or be all that expensive once they did get the belt in. The bad news was they hadn't found one yet, but hopefully it wouldn't be long before they do. Great. I'm thinking to myself, you waited over 2 hours to tell me this? How long am I going to be stuck here? I actually have an afternoon full of meetings. Do I need to start making other plans now? Should I call an Uber? It's going to be time for lunch soon. There's nowhere around here to get food. This sucks. They probably could have handled this better, right? Now, contrast this to another situation I recently had when our microwave bit the dust. We have one of those home warranties that covers built-in appliances, so I called them up and yep, it was covered. They could get a tech out in a couple days. They asked if I would prefer morning or afternoon, and they said they'd call that morning and provide me with a better idea of when the technician would be here. As soon as I had hung up, I received an email from the company confirming everything that they just shared with me. The day before my scheduled maintenance, I received a reminder email from them, and just like they said, they called first thing the morning of our appointment and let me know that our technician would arrive between 1 and 3, and that they'd call 30 minutes ahead of time and let me know that they were on the way. It was clear these guys were doing what they could to minimize the amount of uncertainty related to our situation. When the technician arrived, he diagnosed pretty quickly that an internal switch had gone bad. It wasn't something he'd normally carried with him in the van, so he ordered the part and a couple other ones just in case they were going bad as well. And he said he'd be back once the parts arrived. Now, surprisingly, the parts arrived by FedEx the next day, and I received a call from the company letting me know that I should have received them, and they wanted to see if they could come back out the next day to knock out the repair. You're kidding, right? That'd be awesome. Same drill. They provided me with a window when the technician would arrive and said that they'd call the next morning to tighten that up, and that I would receive a call from the technician 30 minutes before he'd arrive. Again, these guys were doing everything they could to make this situation less uncertain and less stressful. And I have to think this is because they've learned a lot about this over the years, but with much more stressful and anxious situations, like when a furnace goes out on the coldest day of winter, or when your hot water heater dies and you have a house full of guests, or your sewer lines back up just as everyone is getting in the shower before school and the workday begins. In times like this, the last thing you need is more uncertainty and unpredictability, right? So these guys have made it a practice to proactively keep their customers informed and updated throughout the entire process. Just taking some of that uncertainty out of the equation makes a big difference. I may not know what's really going on or what it's going to cost me, but at least I feel like these guys understand my situation and that they're going to see me through it. Okay, so here's this week's business tip. Life is full of uncertainty, and a lot of things and situations can be unpredictable. That's just life. But too often, businesses lose sight of this, and even worse, they contribute to it and make it worse. You need to understand that uncertainty and unpredictability are business and brand killers. They are the antithesis of trust. Uncertainty and unpredictability create stress and anxiety, which are not good for our bodies. We naturally don't like this, and we seek out things that are more predictable, dependable, and reliable. In a world where small differences can create a huge competitive advantage, your organization can completely separate yourself from your competition by being known for dependability and reliability. If your organization is creating any uncertainty or unpredictability, I guarantee that you have customers looking for alternatives. So find them and fix them. And then go a step further and make exceptional and unfaltering dependability and reliability a part of your organization's mission and operating model. If you do this, you'll be amazed by how quickly your organization will get to its next level. So there you have it. That's this week's tip for getting your organization to its next level of profitable growth by creating clarity, alignment, and consistency. Thank you again for watching, and if you would like some help identifying opportunities for reducing unpredictability and uncertainty, be sure to give us a call. Okay then, we'll see you next time.